For centuries, the Japanese have learned to draw from powerful nature. With no space to grow food for all, Japanese cuisine distilled instead the very best from its oceans and from the forests and the mountains that cover most of Japan's long archipelago. To truly be nourished, they believe, you must open all your senses, become aware of the world around you, and in paying thoughtful attention, they discovered astonishing invisible worlds. Once upon a time, more than 1,000 years ago, the Japanese had a close encounter with another kind. This is a mold spore. The Japanese learned it was possible to harness its powers and to grow prosperous by doing so. For like the alchemy that men hoped would turn base metal into gold, the humble mold spore could transform rot into exquisite elixirs for trade. Sprinkle this magic dust on rice, and the rice changes into delicate sake. Sprinkle it onto soybeans, and they transform into shoyu, the soy sauce that is a pillar of Japanese cuisine. To the ancient imperial capital, Kyoto, pristine seasonal produce has been transported for centuries. It is here that the fine art of Japanese cuisine was developed for the emperor and his court. In his exclusive restaurant, Chef Kato sources the very best shoyu for his gastronomic compositions. Shoyu, or soy sauce, is an all-purpose seasoning, enriching flavors by a paradoxical combination of salty bitterness and sweet sourness. It comes in light or dark shades to harmonize with the colors in the chef's deceptively simple dishes. Shoyu, sake, and mirin are essential seasonings in Japanese cuisine and are all produced from a miraculous mold spore exclusive to Japan. Sake enhances the delicate aroma of dishes, mellowing the fishy accents of seafood. Mirin is a sweet distillation of sake. It provides the honeyed high notes in a dish. The aim is not to mask, but to delicately magnify the freshest of ingredients in a pure polyphony of flavor.
O shoyu, o sake, mirin、これが合わさってシンフォニーというものが奏でるわけですね。その中でお醤油っていうの割合っていうのは非常に大事なこと。
Among the old wooden machiya merchant houses, the ancient craft of brewing shoyu is best preserved. Near the ancient imperial palace, the Sawai family business has flourished for well over 100 years. It's a process that must begin in spring and requires one whole year to mature the soy sauce for which the brewery is famed. The choicest soybeans, having simmered overnight, are then carried up to the loft and spread out carefully over a pale bed of wheat by the head of the family, Hisateru Sawai. The Japanese have learned the arcane knowledge of what each season can bring forth.
畑を耕すように、やっております。大豆の畑を作るっていうことですね。やっぱり命を育てるっていうことやと思ってます。
This is the secret seed of life, unique to Japan, Aspergillus oryzae. The tiny mold spores must be carefully mixed with the wheat, so they settle and don't disperse.
これはもう僕にとっては大切な生き物ですね。枯れ木に花を咲かせましょう。綺麗な花を咲かせましょう。枯れ木に花を咲かせましょう。満開に花を咲かせましょう。
The brewer's chant is drawn from an ancient folk tale. It makes the impossible possible.
麹菌は植物を育てるような同じような感じで芽が出て花が咲くって僕らの間では言うんですけども、一面が麹菌の、色に変わります。その時花が咲いたって言って僕らは喜びます。
When the oryzae blooms, Sawai promises that his loft will be transformed into a meadow of green flowers. But why do they sow the oryzae in cherry blossom season? The temperature in April rises to a warm 20 degrees Celsius. March is too cold for oryzae to incubate and grow. May is too hot, and it will suffocate. The Shoyu brewer knows well the climatic conditions that favor his delicate crop. The oryzae grows by breaking down the soybeans and converting them to sugar and amino acids. But the nighttime temperature drops to below 10 degrees Celsius. Worried that the cold will retard the oryzae's growth, Sawai keeps an anxious watch throughout the night. And 3 days later,
あ、ほっとしました。ほっとしました、本当に。今日は麹やね。
よかったです。ほんまやね。
ふわふわやろか。
そうそうそうそう。
うん。これすごいいい麹ですね。今日はいい麹ですね。しっかり花が咲いてくれてますね。これ 甘くなった感じしますね。ちょっと締まった感じもしますし、旨味がそうですね、凝縮している感じですね。
The bloom lasts only a few precious hours, so without a minute to spare, the brewers must transfer the mix to a cedarwood cask. And then, like the finest spirits in the West, the fermenting concoction will mature. But it will take a further 3 seasons for the rich tone and flavor of shoyu to emerge. Chef Kato has perfected the virtuoso knife work that comes with years of experience. One of his specialities is sashimi. He knows the seasonal variations in the fat content of each fish, calibrates for freshness, and then cuts. Kato thinks about the shoyu or soy sauce when he's cutting.
お魚は包丁一つの切り方、角度、すべてによって美味しさが変わってきます。
As precise as the line drawn by a great artist, the knife may slice straight down from skin through plump flesh. This method is called hirazukuri. When the cut is made in one quick motion, the surface of the sashimi is smooth and silky. The shoyu will seep gently into the grain, but not cling to the flesh. If the cut is made against the grain, it is called sogizukuri and creates a more textured surface with a slight circular motion of the knife. The shoyu will then envelop the entire fatty flesh, not just the grain.
お魚の旨味もありますけども、やはり醤油の旨味も大事だと思いますね。お魚とお醤油のハーモニーですか。これは非常に面白いところですね。
The Japanese have simplified their cooking by learning the complex craft of distilling flavor from nature. And the mold oryzae creates the shoyu's deliciousness. That fifth taste that the Japanese call umami. The Japanese first encountered oryzae in the fermentation of rice to produce sake. Master sake brewer Takatoshi Ono uses the same methods his ancestors did 1,000 years ago. It's a complex process involving fermentation, but quite different from, say, our winemaking. In the vineyards of the Western world, grapes are ripened to sweetness. When grapes are crushed and the extracted juice left to stand, the yeast in the grape skins is attracted by the sweetness of the sugar in the juice. The yeast converts the grape sugar into alcohol. Today, this natural fermentation process is sometimes enhanced by artificial means. Japan's humid climate is not suited for grape growing. So the Japanese turn to their staple product, rice. In this rice paddy, the stalks are heavy with rice. Master brewer Ono is hunting for a magic substance that will transform it into an alcohol named sake. A catalyst is required. In the way malt is used to convert barley into sugar and brew beer, for sake, rice must first be converted to sugar too. It's what the Japanese consider the spirit and the soul of the rice plant. A mold they call inadama. This mold can convert rice into sugar.
これ稲玉とか稲麹っていうものを取ってます。麹菌に侵されて、普通のお米としては病害なんですけれども、これを元にして、うまく育ててあげると醸造で使われる麹、種麹というものが、作れる、そういうものです。
Inadama only appears on a bumper rice crop. It's very rare. It contains oryzae that will transform the rice into sugar. The master brewer places the inadama in a shaker. When shaken vigorously, the oryzae spores in the inadama are released like fine talc. The oryzae spores fall on the steamed rice. When the oryzae awaken on the rice, they grow filaments that begin to heat up. The red hue, like a thermometer, indicates the temperature has climbed over 35 degrees Celsius. Ono checks the temperature in the palm of his hand, for oryzae die if they overheat. The process by which the mold is converting rice into sugar generates the heat. If it rises much above 35 degrees, he will make the filamentous fungus dance in the air to cool off.
野生のものはすごい元気、一旦育ち始めちゃうとどんどん成長して熱も出すし、いろいろ酵素もたくさん出してくれるしっていう感じで、やっぱり力強いですよね。
About a week later, he checks the rice again. The chemical conversion is well underway.
甘いですね。でもまあその灰の苦みがまだちょっと あるんですけど、乾燥するとね、またこの甘みを強く感じるようになります。
Sweetness. That means the starch in the rice has changed to sugar. So everything is ready to progress to the next stage, to the fermentation. And now, just as in winemaking, alcohol will be produced. The craftsmen sing to the tiny organisms so that the fungi will be happy in their work, so that they will make sake cheerfully. Modern techniques have superseded the organic use of oryzae. And the craft of oryzae production has been developed. It is traded as a commodity, like yeast in Europe. Tucked away in a corner of Kyoto, an ancient family concern trades in precious oryzae spores. From these, the mold can be husbanded for brewing shoyu or sake.
どうもいつもありがとうございます。ご注文、はい、承ります。小白の粉状のタイプを100袋でございますね。本日の発送になりますが、青森県でございますので、明後日の着便になるかと思います。
The trade is very select. There are only 10 purveyors of mold seed in the whole of the country. They handle the oryzae orders for the 4,000 shoyu sake breweries in Japan. Since subtle differences in the properties of oryzae strains make a big impact on flavor, the spores are chosen with care to match the customer's requirements and carefully packed for dispatch. In the cavernous heart of this traditional wooden merchant's house, a modern laboratory undertakes the critical work. The secrets of oryzae production are handed down exclusively from father to son. The precious mother fungus may only be handled by the owner of the business. As though tending a fire over centuries, the current head of the family business cultivates the strains of oryzae that have passed down through former generations so that they do not die out. Sukeno, the mold seed trader, develops the valuable fungus. The expert part is selecting the spores that make the best tasting shoyu and sake. Using all his 5 senses, he distinguishes which of the molds to keep and which to discard.
「見た目の色だったり胞子のつき方」経験を重ねるごとにやっぱりもう見ただけでこの菌はダメだっていうのはもう分かるようになりますし、あ、これはいいのを持ってきたんだな、見つけたんだなっていうのが、結構仕事の喜びではありますね。そういうのを増やしていければと思ってます。
After selecting the best, they're cultivated on cooked rice. Oryzae is the Latin word for rice. Its other name is moyashi, a tender shoot in Japanese.
もやしという言葉自体がこの見た目のことを表している言葉だと思うので、山が燃えているじゃないですけど、米の表面にカビの星が燃えるようについていると。
Since it was rare and difficult to rely on harvesting inadama to procure oryzae, Sukeno's ancestors developed other ingenious methods. Sukeno sets fire to a dried young branch of the camellia tree. It is said that his ancestors cultivated oryzae this way. The resulting ash is sprinkled on cooked rice. Within 2 days, the molds in the air begin to grow on the rice. The rice mound, decomposing naturally, turns red and yellow, while the one sprinkled with camellia ash turns green. This is oryzae.
でもこの違いは何かというと、もうそれは木灰を使っているかということに尽きるんですけども、木灰を使うことによって表面がアルカリ性になって、アルカリ性の状態でも繁殖することができる麹菌が、選択的に繁殖できるようになったと。
Wood ash has been an important resource and tool for the Japanese since ancient times. Ash was mixed with water, and the clear liquid that rose to the top was used for washing clothes and hair. People found that the alkaline in wood ash could kill bacteria and germs. The search for a more powerful sterilization agent eventually led them to the camellia tree. Camellia has strong alkaline properties and was especially valued by the mold seed producers. Using camellia ash, the Japanese could collect oryzae even when precious inadama was unavailable. This is how, for the first time in the world, they were able to isolate a single mold spore from the hundreds of millions floating in the air. It was 800 years ago that the mold spore business began, initiating a burgeoning trade unique to Japan. It's one of the world's oldest bio-businesses. June comes in the rainy season in Kyoto. The best season for microbes and molds. Mingling with the sound of falling raindrops, peculiar sounds echo in the Shoyu brewery. This is the wooden tub that was filled in the spring. And that's the sound of the yeast breathing. Attracted to the sugar created by oryzae, they have come to feast.
ブクブクっちゅう可愛らしい音がしますね。毎年発酵をちゃんとしてくれるかすごく不安なんですけども、この音を聞くと生きてるんだなと思ってすごく幸せな音ですね。
The brewery is 130 years old and hosts all manner of bacilli and productive yeasts in the nooks and crannies of its antique wooden frame.
僕が生まれる前から菌は住んでくれてますので、もう130年ほど目に見えないんですけども味を決めてくれてるんだという思いはいつも持ってます。
It's a fertile ecosystem that must be preserved intact. The shoyu's distinct flavor depends upon it.
で変えられないですよね。回収する時にもこう場所を徐々に変えて少しずつ回収していくっていうようないっぺんに変えちゃうといなくなってしまうんでね。
The microbes help to deepen or mellow the shoyu. They create over 300 kinds of aroma components. To help the fermentation, the master brewer Sawai folds air into the mix. He has learned from his ancestors that the hot and humid rainy season is when the vital microbes are most active. But he must be careful to judge just the right amount of exposure of the microbes to the air, or they may die. It's August, and the rainy season has ended. An apprentice monk from a Buddhist temple comes to the Sawai establishment to beg for alms. In the warehouse, the busy cacophony in the shoyu vats has subsided. The summer heat causes a chemical reaction, making the liquid in the vats darken to a rich brown. The microbes may be at rest, but the flavor and aroma keeps developing. August is a month for remembering one's ancestors, and the festivities respect the Buddhist injunctions on meat. The Sawai family live adjoining the brewery, and in the kitchen, the concern at this time of the year is to make vegetarian dishes particularly appealing. The twin pillars of flavor in Japanese cuisine are dashi, the stock from which almost all dishes are derived, and shoyu, or soy sauce. And from these, mother and daughter-in-law have produced delicate dishes with which to celebrate. The family gather to honor their ancestors, who founded their shoyu brewery many generations ago.
なんで閉めてへんかな。
僕は何代目って大きい声で言うて。6代目になんの？なれる？
頑張らなあかんな。
父ちゃん頑張って一番作っといてもらわなきゃな。もう一通りちゃうけ。
Kyoto is a hive of interconnected activity, as the business of one feeds the trade of the other. Twice a year, our mold seed producer gives oryzae a new lease on life. The test tubes contain the precious original oryzae mother fungus passed down through generations. No one but the head of the family business knows the secret location where the treasure is kept. But he must beware, for oryzae's power to create sugar weakens with each passing generation.
例えば醤油だったらできた醤油の旨味が足らない。あとは色がいつもより濃くなってしまう。また香りが足らない。それは絶対にやってはいけないことなので。
Adding 1 grain of the mother strain revives the oryzae's vitality. By repeating this process time after time, Sukeno has kept the traditional taste of Japanese cuisine alive. And today, oryzae exists only in Japan. It can be found nowhere else in the world. Professor Kitamoto can explain why. He's an expert in the miraculous power of this unique mold.
これがアスペルギルスオリゼの分性子、いわゆる胞子の細胞です。
Oryzae can break down into sugar almost 100% of the carbohydrate in rice. Because of the speed of this transformation, it's been dubbed the champion of molds.
これに紫外線を当てて観察しますと、このように一つの細胞の中に核がたくさんあるのが分かります。一つの細胞の中に核がこんなにたくさんある生物は非常に珍しい生物と言えます。
Normally, a mold cell has only 1 nucleus, but oryzae can have as many as 10. It protects the spore, for even if 1 nucleus is lost by mutation, the remaining nuclei can be relied upon to relay genetic information to the next generation. This is how the traditional flavors of Japan have been preserved over the centuries. Professor Kitamoto recently set forth a new theory to explain the mystery of oryzae's exclusivity to Japan. He discovered that oryzae was bred by man. He stumbled on the revelation while analyzing a mold similar to oryzae. Aspergillus flavus can also break down rice to make alcohol. But it produces a toxic substance called aflatoxin to protect itself from enemies. When viewed through the microscope, we can see that Aspergillus flavus has only one nucleus. Professor Kitamoto believes that over 1,000 years, wild strains of Aspergillus flavus were cultivated to produce the oryzae that has multiple nuclei. The completion in 2001 of the genomic analysis of the Aspergillus fungi led him to his discovery. He put the genome sequence of oryzae and flavus onto 2 scrolls for comparison.
オリゼとフラブスの DNA 配列はほとんど違いがありません。ただ大きな違いがあります。この毒素を作る部分がフラブスにありますが、オリゼには欠落しています。
The DNA sequences of both are almost identical. Yet oryzae is missing the genes to produce toxins.
自然界でいたのを、日本人が家畜化をしてオリゼにした。その狼が、長い年月、今犬になったり、例えばイノシシが、家畜化されて、豚っていう、そういう流れ。
But how did previous generations manage to tame the oryzae strain? Centuries ago, a mold seed producer collected flavus spores from the wild and began cultivating them in an incubation room. He got rid of the ones that produced bad sake and repeated the process each time, selecting only the ones that made flavorsome sake. Eventually, some strains that lacked the gene to create toxins appeared. This may have been because there were no enemies in the incubation room. From this batch of mold, the producer selected the ones that seemed to have the highest conversion rate of rice into sugar. Then, by mutation, some spores began to incorporate more than one nucleus. The mold seed producer propagated this stable mold that could be relied on to always make tasty sake. This was the long road and human agency that brought the exceptional Aspergillus oryzae into being. Winter brings a muted loveliness to Kyoto. It's the season when the invisible microbes lie dormant. This is also the time for the brewer to complete the process of producing shoyu. It has taken a whole year to nurture. The fermented shoyu is carefully strained through sarashi muslin and then pressed. Not one drop must be wasted. oryzae's job is done.
ようやく実になりましたね、これね。そうですね、花が咲いて、その後これが実になりましたね。
Every morning, fresh ingredients are delivered to the kitchens of Gion. Making the most of seasonal offerings with the utmost culinary artistry is the doctrine of Japanese traditional cuisine. Great care is taken not to overcook. Fish must remain flaky and moist, vegetables firm and crisp. Shoyu, sake, and the sweeter mirin are all products of oryzae. With flavors that range from rich and deep woody accents to fresh flowery notes with just the right balance of sweetness, sourness, and umami. It is the chef's craft to combine these flavors with flair. In the very best lacquer bowl, a beautiful tiny still life reflects autumn in Kyoto. The dish celebrates the bounty of a land blessed with beautiful seasons. Born of austerity and aestheticism, Japan's thoughtful encounter with the delicate and the rare, and with the mysterious and wonderful worlds beneath the visible, has much to teach us. In a world of declining natural resources, may we learn its precious lessons.